Hey everybody, welcome to TV Chef Fantasy League, the podcast that is back after various travels and Olympic Games. I am your host and commissioner, Mike Cablon. With me as always are my co-hosts, Sierra Kato and Ife Wadiwe. How nice is it to be back in the same room together?
Oh, it feels good, yeah.
Feels good.
I forgot how much I missed just being close to y'all and tapping you.
Being able to interrupt you.
Yes.
Yes.
I know. We're certified yappers. We need the chance to jump on each other and geek out about things. And there are a lot of things I think we're going to have lots of fun talking about.
We've got a lot to talk about because this week there were 2 episodes of MasterChef back-to-back. Actually, I think that might continue for the next couple of weeks, so we might be doing a lot of these. But we're going to try and supersize this episode and fit 2 episodes worth of content into this one podcast. There's going to be a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here's a question. Just because this is our first episode back after a while, that comes from our wonderful producer, Val. So last week we talked to Sam, who has been a contestant on MasterChef, and we learned so much about the process. How has your viewing experience changed since then? Because I have a lot of different thoughts watching the episode now,
It was one of the things, right, where when we were talking about Top Chef, we kind of flirted with the idea of especially with Sue, we were like, oh man, how much of this is just manufactured? And we kind of came to terms with the fact of Top Chef don't play that.
Right.
It's very much it is what it is. And learning that, because I remember when we were transitioning to MasterChef, I was like, I feel like this is where those games lie. And then getting that confirmed, it kind of changed the game for me in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Sorry, were you going to say something?
Oh, I mean, only that I think it also has changed the way because I've also been watching The Bachelorette, as I might have.
Right,
I think because, those confessionals, it's kind of the whole reality game. It was so fun to actually hear it from somebody. So I think it's kind of changed it all.
How is The Bachelorette going? Just as a 3-sentence recap, is it, you know what I mean? How would you rank the season?
Oh, yeah. Actually, the most recent episode, I think, was quite funny. There's some malfunctions happening in the contestant. One contestant just fully malfunctioned, which you do see sometimes. The pressure's tough to handle on reality shows.
Not everyone can be on TV.
No, not for anybody sometimes. So I think, knowing that these are real people, and then also they are kind of in this pressure cooker.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
You're right. Hey, hope it doesn't break. But yes, so it's really changed the game.
It did make me, in some ways I was like, yes, this all feels phony and fake, but it also did make me have a little bit more respect for everyone because they're real humans. And Sam reminded us that if you don't know how to make something, you might have learned it that week, but generally people are coming in knowing how to make this stuff.
Yeah.
So even the people where I'm I always get on you for drafting Horacio because I'm that guy doesn't seem like he knows anything. But this week he pulled out those meatball croquettes and I'm okay, you know what?
Oh yeah.
Good for that guy.
Right.
He showed up.
Especially under the lights. And I think, maybe it's sort of a learning curve where we're at least however 8 episodes in or whatever. And so it's maybe the time for him to really apply everything
stuff.
He's done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, there's a couple things I want to talk about before we dive into the episodes. The first one, I don't know if you guys saw, because I know you watch on YouTube. Did you watch it live?
No.
So there were some commercials that I saw.
Well, I watch YouTube TV, so I do sometimes see the commercials.
Okay. Oh, the commercials are included. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
So one of the commercials was for casting next season.
Yes.
Okay,
that's
you saw
very
it?
important because me and him considered we were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, maybe we put our love on the line.
Yeah.
Get in there.
It's MasterChef time.
Okay, did you see this commercial?
Okay, I must have seen it maybe on their Instagram then. But yeah.
Duos.
Get excited.
Lovers, friends, siblings. Enemies, mortal enemies.
To friends.
I mean, look, we could all do it. Me and him will go. Y'all will go as podcast hosts, fellow podcast hosts, and see how we make it.
Yeah.
A little, Top Chef or TV Chef Fantasy League internal rivalry.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm for it.
Yeah. I think they'd love that tidbit where it's there is a third host in here that is not with the host.
Not part of this duo.
Just having fake dramas Mike didn't want to pick me. That's all good.
So I'm really excited for that. If you are listening to this and you're thinking about applying, please apply. Even if you don't want to be on the show, apply in let us know what it's like.
Yes.
I want to know what duo casting is like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And now you all have the insider info on like what the casting process is. You know, make sure that can last in a Tupperware for over 5 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing is that there was a little lower third that showed that in September, Hell's Kitchen is coming back and it's head chefs only, which is appealing to me. But I do think in September we'll be doing Great British Baking Show.
Okay.
Ooh.
I mean, look, we can pull an audible. We can do whatever we want in September.
Yeah.
Right.
Cross that bridge when we get to it. But I was...
A little mashup.
A show that is head chefs only, I'm like, that's going to be a good season.
Yeah.
It's now creeping slowly more toward Top Chef
Top
territory.
Chef territory.
Yeah.
TCT.
Classic TCT.
Yeah.
All right. We've got 2 episodes to cover. So should we just start?
Yeah.
Let's just start. Okay. So the first episode is all about birthday cakes. The hosts come out. We see their baby photos. I want to say our own Sanchez's kid photo. I was like, that's a good looking kid.
Oh, yeah.
Cute. Yeah.
Cute kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of good babies.
Yeah. Joe Bastianich, the opposite.
He did-
He called himself a devil baby.
Yeah, he did look like something from The Orphan.
I didn't even need to see the baby photo to even get that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You know,
you look
Joe-
at his face as an adult.
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
you're
I
like,
got it.
I know what kind of baby you were.
Yeah, if you like de-aged him in AI, like that's what would come out.
The challenge was to make a birthday cake, and you could make whatever you want as long as it had at least 2 layers. I was kind of surprised they didn't trot Christina Tosi back out for this.
Man.
They usually do.
special
They're really big on like bringing back old hosts.
Yeah.
And she is like, anytime there's anything remotely related to baking, they're like, we got to have her back on.
Yeah. I think they didn't want to put her through this. They didn't want to, because, she always talks about how she doesn't like frosting the outside because it's
Right.
like a cheat to kind of hide.
Yeah.
And we learned
A lot of cheating.
We learned.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was basically the entire technique.
Yeah,
Most of them did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay, so this week, Anna, who was the team captain of the winning team last week, and won the week before, so like
on fire.
high odds favorite going into this competition, had an advantage, and that was to pick one generation that did not get to use their stand mixers. I gotta know your guys' thoughts on this. To me, I was like, this is genuinely one of the most cruel things I've ever seen on TV.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever tried to whisk any batter.
Yeah.
It's like, that's insane.
Yeah, it's truly wild, and it really is like such a disservice, and I think that is also why they picked the way they picked.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, if we got one winner from the huge disadvantage, let's save everyone else because that's definitely what fucked everyone else.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting because I feel like coming into it, it feels like there's no real like drama built. So it really just feels like a shot at a group of people for no reason other than like
it's very reality TV where it's just like you can screw over anyone in this room. Who would you like to screw over?
And they're like, okay.
Point them out.
Yeah.
Also, it's just the huge step from like very like industrial kind of big standing mixer.
Yeah.
That like
Yes.
I don't even have. It's like at least maybe give them the one with the button that you hand
Oh,
hold.
The
yeah.
hand mixer that Geeks is using. We'll get to that, but yeah.
sure. That's right. I forgot. Yeah, Geeks. Oh God. But versus like just the manual whisk, like it's a big step down.
It's a huge step down.
Yeah.
So her reasoning was that the boomers helped out her generation in the last round. She didn't pick them. She picks Gen Z. She thinks they have some good bakers that rely on technology, and there's a full fleet of 5 of them. So she's like, I gotta knock some of them out. And I'm impressed with how well Gen Z did. It seemed like it was like hard, but no one really, really fucked up their cake in a way where in a way that I had expected.
Yeah.
I mean, they pulled it through, even though they kind of focused on like Mert and Fatima.
Yeah.
God, the meringue thing. My God, she pulled it through. I guess. Well, I guess they got luckily Becca saved them. I think was the highlight. But
I think it was an acknowledgement of like, you had a trash hand and you still came out on top. Yeah, it's worth you saving.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And Mert's fire starting. I get his mentality of like, well, this is I guess what the machine is doing, just spinning the thing.
Yeah.
But it was just
my favorite thing I've ever seen.
So much screen time for Mert.
And he also threw someone else under the bus. He didn't say anyone, but anyway, he's like, one of the boomers told me to do this, and I'm like,
oh right,
dude. They're messing with you. Don't do that.
Yeah, it really just Mert getting that Mert That's what we expected from Mert. He's given exactly what we expected from Mert's behavior.
Yeah, exactly. I want to point out that Mert made a tres leches cake and he pronounced it the most white boy way, tres leches.
Yeah, that and Anna, the way she pronounced dulce de leche.
Oh, I didn't catch that. How'd she say it?
She was like, dulce de leche.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll grade on a curve a little bit because she's from Ukraine. You know what I mean?
Right,
sure.
She's already contending with an accent.
Yeah. Okay.
She's parroting what she's heard people. I think she's from the Midwest. I'm sure, like in Iowa or wherever she's from, that is what people say. You know?
Yeah, dulce de leche.
Right. Yeah. But Mert, tres leches.
Right. Isn't
and he's in
something?
Miami, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
Come on, Mert.
Yeah, he out there with his ears closed.
Yeah, come on.
It's like I'm like a cabano.
Okay, let's just go right for the closer looks. These are the people who landed at the top 4, the best thing from every generation. Gen Z, Becca, like you said, she made her chocolate cake, peanut butter frosting, chocolate ganache, peanut brittle toffee. Mm-hmm. This is the one where I was like, that looks good as hell. That's like the flavor profile is right up my alley.
Oh yeah,
this is the one I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She had the little like drizzle on the edge. I know. Okay, and I was talking to my friend who's also been watching MasterChef about her, and like I kind of have this. I feel like with her, I have this almost like maternal thing because I'm like, oh, she's so young,
she's so tiny.
She looks like a baby.
I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
And
like
then
a freaking baby.
Exactly. And then my friend points out she has 3 kids, right?
Oh,
like she does have a family.
God,
or she
really?
doesn't have
Freaking
kids.
baby. She is from Utah.
She's from Utah.
She's from
That's
Utah.
it.
So she's a baby who has babies. But yeah, so she must be, cooking for them and, feeding her kids. I mean, I don't know how old they are, so who knows. But yeah, I think she has a family.
They're 24, 25.
Yeah, 24, 25-year-old kids. She's been making them birthday cakes every year.
Kids. Jeez.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but this is what my friend told me, so blame her.
I go back and forth on whether I want to like hate that or love that. Because do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As like a fucking like liberal coastal elite, I'm like, ugh. But at the same time, I have so much respect for someone.
I mean, clearly
who can do
she's-
all of that.
yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, clearly she's doing great. I
doing
feel like
great.
we would be, if it was something like she's really bogged down and and she's not able to pursue her dreams, like of course, but it looks like she's on TV pursuing her dreams
And has like personality to spare. Do you know what I mean? Like
what?
good on television isn't like if you're like a person who can do all of that, but you're like kind of a bore.
Sure.
If I can't hold a conversation with you, that's like a different dismissal.
Oh
but
yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, she's got full TV personality from the start.
Oh yeah. I am verifying the amount of babies.
Okay,
Oh,
thank you're
you. Okay, doing
Checking
some
the
research
hospital
there.
I'm
records.
on baby watch.
All right. Well, while you're
Okay,
counting her kids, she was she was super confident. She did 3 layers, which I think is again impressive in that she has the technical ability. You know what I mean? She
Right.
can like walk the walk.
1 layer for each kid, supposedly, if that's true.
I want to bring up that she sounded confident. She didn't say anything akin to "I make this all the time."
Yeah.
She just said like, "I know I can do it." So we're not
Yeah.
going to award any points
I
there.
do.
Yeah.
See
No,
that.
I agree.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, I wrote that she really saved Fatima's ass because Fatima didn't do great.
It was a tough thing. So I mean, I guess this is where my mind went back to our interview, like where it's. Did she land on the meringue? She's like, I'm going to do this. And then that curveball gets thrown. So she's
Okay.
like, oh, shit. Now I
Yes.
got it. Because you would never want to do that. With
I'm
a
so glad you
hand
brought that
thing,
up
right?
because I was like, why? I'm not a baker, but I do know that Italian meringue requires a lot of whipping.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I don't think that's possible to do with
So wouldn't you pivot
hands.
at some point?
Right. I thought, so I'm like, so you're really, really locked in or something?
Yeah.
Like, are those the rules? These are the ingredients. And then, maybe her personality is more like, look, I don't know how to pivot at this point. So let's just do it. Right.
This is another, I have like a follow-up question for Sam now. I want to know, like, once you tell the judges, like, this is what I'm making, do you have to? No, because people pivot all the time. People are like, I tried to make a pasta sauce. It didn't work. So I had to make a pesto or whatever. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. So I think it might have just been like, these are the ingredients I have. Like, what am I going to do? Yeah. Or just like, but also baking is very different, right? Where it's like so
Yeah.
precise. So maybe she's just like, there's literally nothing else I could do that's edible.
And her reasoning when they talked to her about it was she was like, I want to like, basically prove myself, which I admire, but I'm also like, that's so much arm movement,
Oh, God. I mean, that's a thing that I think humans aren't supposed to do.
We're not supposed to
This
do.
is why we introduce technology.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm for machines taking over jobs if the job is just like turning a whisk
Right.
100
Yeah.
times.
Just one motor going at it. You know?
Exactly. I do just need to point out or ask, why did she have such a comically large whisk? Did either of you guys clock that?
I think that she was like, oh, if it's bigger,
it'll make the job easier.
I mean,
look, if you're a baker, let me know. Maybe it's like, that's the whisk you use for Italian meringue.
Yeah.
Or I was like, maybe it's like a mobility issue thing, but it's like, it was like a cartoon whisk. Do you know what I mean? It was like easily 10 times the size of a regular whisk.
No, yeah, it was big. I was just so worried. The bowl was big. Everything was
big.
Too much.
And she seems like a tiny lady. You know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah.
It's a lot.
All right. Do you have an update on how many kids?
No. There's a lot of
still
Beccas.
poking around the internet.
There's a lot of Beccas. Also, but what I will say, I found it now. What I will say is when they introduced the generations, they tagged everyone's Instagrams on the main MasterChef page except Gen Z. Gen Z did not get tagged in it. So I did some work, but now I have found Becca and lots of food, posing with the BYU Panther or what have you.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah,
Mascot.
not seeing any info, but I'm gonna see if I can
maybe
find the
they're like,
account.
Some parents are like, I don't put my kids on the internet. Maybe they're still babies.
Yeah,
you know?
that makes sense.
Wait, how does your friend know that she has 3 kids?
Man, I gotta ask her. I mean, she's clearly a fan.
Okay.
But yeah, I think she might have.
stalker.
Maybe she mentioned it at some point.
They both. Okay,
Wedding photo?
we're looking at a photo of Becca and her. I'm assuming husband.
Yeah, this is the private account. I'm gonna see if I might
Oh,
request a
Finsta.
Wow,
follow.
you really started digging.
Well,
Yeah.
so maybe this is how my friend found out she was on her. She got
I
accepted to her private
I gotta see
following.
if I could break through.
They could not look like more of children.
It does
Yeah.
look it's giving a little bit like homecoming freshman year.
It
you know?
really, really does.
Or,
and he looks like, at least, like if I saw him on the street, apropos of nothing, I'd be like, that's a young man.
Mm-hmm.
And if I saw her on the street, as she looks in this photo, I'd be like, that's fully a child.
Yeah. She's got a baby face. That's
they both look young.
Yeah, so with her account, they have to.
You're really going deep.
Yeah, I looked up her last name on her chef account and started trying to look at her family's page. They're all locked down, which is suspect. If I was on a reality show, no one in my family is locking their account, and they're saying
blasting everything.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
But Julie,
Private.
wide open, and it's her. Her pattern brand. Julie has her eye on the prize. It's like, if you're trying to snoop on the family, why don't you buy some of these knitting patterns?
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, they've
knitting
locked
patterns.
it down.
When your friends are like, I just started dating this guy and he said he doesn't have social media, are you the one they turn to where they're like, I need you to find out everything?
Oh, look, I
you know?
reverse image search. I do it all.
Wow.
They've locked it. They've locked down the Gibb family Instagram. What are you hiding?
Oh, no.
What are you hiding?
Maybe it's more
You're
than 3
like
kids.
the.
Let me look up how many black people you're following.
Have you seen the guy on the internet who can like find you wherever you are in the
Yes.
world?
Oh, God.
You're like that guy.
Yeah.
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 You know what we're talking about?
Yes, right. He kind of uses clues from the background
Yeah,
of your photos.
yeah.
I've seen a TikTok or two where he dials it, zooms in. And
It's terrifying, but also incredibly satisfying.
Yeah, it makes me. Yeah, I'm very easily located.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me realize that things may need to change.
Yeah. But also, we're public figures. I
Sure.
always kind of feel like once we cross over into like I'm on TV or in movies or whatever, then it's like you kind of just got to give up a certain part.
Right, we're yapping hours every week, about our lives. So sure.
Okay. Also at the top for the millennials is Kamei with her lemon confetti cake, vanilla buttercream, rainbow sprinkles. My girl Kamei, she didn't give up. Her frosting broke. She was like, this is in trouble. And she fixed it.
Yeah.
She put her head down. She did it again. Came out on top.
Look, we're always talking about how Kamei is ready to slay.
She really is.
Kamei is ready to slay, and it's apparent every week. Was able to reorganize, had real quick, gave a fun fact about funfetti.
Yes, I didn't know that it was invented like in our lifetime.
Yeah, I know. It's
Makes
wild
so
that
much
it took that
Yeah.
long for them to go, let's put some sprinkles in it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that little blurb was so, it really solidified. Like, she's in there to win it because this is a game of the generations, and she's got a little thing to say about each time. This is why this dish is perfect for me and millennials.
And then also the lemon zest twist is nice. It's a very simple twist. You're not trying to do too much.
Yeah.
It's going to elevate it.
Yeah.
And funfetti is just vanilla cake, so vanilla lemon. You're doing such a big twist with just a small adjustment.
Yeah. I will say this is something that my okay, sorry, my brain just short circuited for a second. So what I was about to say is this is what my girlfriend and I talk about all the time. And then for listeners, I just got engaged, and so I'm still in the mode where I have to tell myself fiance.
Yeah.
This is something that my fiance and I talk about all the time because she loves sort of like funfetti, like that category of desserts, and it is at like dead last for me. I could not care for dessert less than anything that is like rainbow, unicorn, funfetti, vanilla, rainbow sprinkles.
But the flavor really isn't that different, or you're just visually you're like it's more the visual?
It's a combination of both. It's that like I'm not a fan of like plain vanilla things anyway.
Okay.
And then to also try and dress it up as like, but it's fun. I'm like, no, it's not.
Interesting. Yeah,
you're pulling over on me.
It sets high expectations flavor wise.
I was real into it because they have the like Hawaiian Sweet, that bread company.
King's Hawaiian Rolls.
King's Hawaiian.
Yeah.
They have a bakery out here.
Yeah, I haven't been.
For the birthday cakes, they would do this like seemingly white sheet cake.
Okay.
And then it would have rainbows on it. And at first I was like, what is this? But it's like guava flavor.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yes. And so they utilize the rainbow, but it is like tropical flavors.
Okay.
And it is like, I think, not enough people do tropical cakes.
Good.
And so, like, I'd say that might be the thing that brings you to the rainbow side, but technically it doesn't, because
it's not really
it's the tropical flavor.
Well, so that's what I was going to say when you brought up Kamei's like little lemon twist.
Yeah.
I was like, that would get me to try it. I probably wouldn't eat a whole slice.
Yeah.
And that's not on Kamei. That's just on like funfetti stuff.
So, and this is just in general, you just don't like the more vanilla flavors.
Yeah, like if you gave me a choice between like chocolate soft serve and vanilla soft serve, I'm doing the chocolate.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If you're like the twist part is broken, you have to pick one or the other. I'm picking chocolate.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. I will say I've had that, I think, cake, that guava rainbow cake. And they also, sometimes they put a little guava, like gel, like frosting or whatever. Yeah, and it's so good. And that is honestly
going to be the next. Yeah,
that
we
is
didn't
my
bring
favorite
food like we normally do this time.
And it totally does the thing of like justifying the rainbow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Versus, just dyeing it, and then you're like, I'm so excited. And then you bite into it, it's all the same flavor. Like this, like it corresponds. So, all for it.
There's my brain can't put the joke together. There's a joke about like justifying the rainbows, like what Republicans say to fight gay marriage. I don't know. I couldn't write that joke.
Putting the words justify and rainbow in there, that was a poor choice on my part. I'm going to come off pretty right wing.
Okay. Also, the top for Gen X is Kimberly. Her vanilla cake with strawberry jam filling and strawberry buttercream. Everyone in Gen X made a strawberry cake. I guess she just made the best strawberry cake. It was pretty, but I was like, okay, it's like a competent strawberry cake.
A little bit too much.
Yeah, that was cute though. That's like, Gen X loves strawberries.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, it was cute. Joe said you could eat it for breakfast, and that was where I was like, that's not a compliment to me.
That was weird. Yeah.
If you're like, hey, this is pretty close to like toast, I'm like, that's not a cake then. I don't really want that.
Yeah. It's like, this is like not too sweet in the morning. Like, what?
I mean, I'm sure it was a fine cake, but seemed like the path of least resistance in that category. She did say she's not a baker. She's only baked one cake in her whole life. God, wow. Okay, if he just showed me a picture of the King's Hawaiian rainbow cake.
Next live recording, I'm gonna bring
dude.
a whole cake. My favorite thing about the food I bring is like we get to have it and treat, and then Mike has to deal with it.
Yeah, you just leave it here.
Yeah.
You once brought me like 10 corn dogs.
Yeah.
And they don't keep that well.
Yeah. At least this one, it's a cake that it'll be a treat. It'll be a treat. I love like either leftovers or like if you have like you had a dinner party and maybe there's a pie or a cake.
Yeah.
And you just know like late night when you're just you have that just waiting for you, like, ooh, yeah.
I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna eat a slice of cake.
Exactly.
One time, we were on Uber Eats and we were ordering from, speaking of Christina Tosi, Milk Bar.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they had a few items listed like on the Postmates app as being, I can't remember if it was 1 penny or $0. And we were like, well, surely this is a mistake, but let's put it in the cart anyway. So we ordered like a cookie and like a cake or whatever. But then we also threw in the like $0 whole cake and $0 like whole cookie cake or whatever. And they showed up. It arrived here. And then when we looked back at the app, we're like, oh, we got to tell our friends. It was gone. They had already fixed it. So for the brief window where things were like $0, we got, and it was too much. We had like 3 cakes in here. We just called all of our friends in the neighborhood, like, please come by and take some cake.
Oh my God.
The cake
love
hack.
that. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So back to Kimberly. She said she's not a baker. She's baked 1 cake in her whole life. Here's the question. Does this count as some form of like, I don't cook with this a lot. I don't make this a lot. My inclination is no. And she's on my team. I would get the points for it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's not quite the same.
Yeah. We're looking for the energy of it or the actual words. And I think, it's close.
It's
adjacent.
close.
Yeah, okay.
It's right on the line.
I would have maybe said yes because it's kind of like, I don't bake.
Yeah.
And I'm baking, but I don't know.
Shall we split the diff? It would be a half point. Can we do 0.25?
Yeah.
Okay. 0.25. I'll come back to that. I will do that later. Also on top, finally, with the boomers, is Christopher with his Black Forest cake. I loved his pitch for it. He's like, it's the forbidden cake, when you're a kid and you're like, I want that cake. And the adults are like, you can't have it. It has alcohol in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a really good pitch.
That's a great pitch.
The other note I took for this is that when the judges were about to announce it, they're like, and the cake we want to see from the boomers, this one was artfully decorated, and then they cut to Geegs.
Oh my God.
And I was like, that is the shadiest editor move I have seen in a long time.
It fooled me.
Yeah, we're going to get to it when we get to it, but I have a lot to say about Geeks.
Okay, all right. Then let's blow through it because I want to get to Geeks.
Yeah, I'm ready.
The winner out of these 4 was Becca, and it's really cool because she did it all without a stand mixer. Kudos to you, Becca. They did call out Fatima. They're like, hey, you should be grateful because you would be on the bottom if it were not for the fact that your whole generation is safe right now.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the bottom. Let's start with Geeks. The boomers, Geeks comes out. Okay, you wanted to start. Tell us what you're thinking.
What the fuck? This cake.
Perfect reaction.
It feels like there's no way you made that cake thinking that was a good idea. There's no way you did that. And then the flour, which I didn't know, and was the one putting me on. I was like, you're not supposed to eat flour. And I was like, I just wouldn't have done that. But I didn't know it's like a health hazard. You can get salmonella from flour.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why
Val flagged that for her. She was like, that's a safety hazard.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, because, a lot of people think you're not supposed to eat cookie dough because of the eggs, but it's actually the flour.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's another fun fact.
Thank you, M.
Fun food fact. The 3 Fs. But yeah, so him just kind of like proudly declaring it and then like being combative about it.
There was an exchange where one of the judges was like, help me out, and he interjected with, help me out. My God. Why are you fighting them?
You knew he was just at the bottom. Oh my God. And the spelling, that was my favorite. Because at first it's like, Geegs, and then it says Geeg. And so every time I saw that, I just would burst out laughing. Just Geeg.
It's so
singular.
Funny. Singular Geeg, and written in the like wispiest, like, not even in icing, like a can of whipped cream, like Ready Whip.
Geeg. Yeah, I think he was having withdrawals from not having any pre-workout. He's probably haven't been hitting the gym.
Okay.
He was a little testy.
Here's my genuine theory. And this is post us talking to Sam last week. Do you remember when Sam was like, there was a girl on my season who wanted out, so she kind of just like, they wouldn't let her out, so she like did bad, and then they sent her home like officially through the show.
Yeah.
I think Geegs I don't know what his reasoning is, but I think it felt like he was trolling the audience. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because, something about it is I think he really kind of came in with a, like, I'm going to do the health food. I'm going to do the healthy food. And we'd never seen him do that shit once. Not a single lick of it. And I don't know if it was because he just didn't have access to, like, the healthy alternative options.
Yeah.
So maybe he was kind of being a little pissy where he's like, well, I can't do it. Because, like, he had the greasy meat, the greasiest meat I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, the most anti-healthy thing. Yeah.
So it almost feels like he was combating against the show where it's like, they wouldn't let me get avocado oil.
Right.
I mean, and the other thing about him, I feel like that my thing is he's probably, he was satisfying this like cool, breaking the stereotype, I'm I'm old, but I'm young, or whatever. I'm a boomer, but I'm a super healthy boomer, so I can like do more push-ups than you guys. And then, he like he maybe wasn't really much of a chef. And then it's like, he's made it this far and he's like, well, now what? I got to bake a cake? I didn't sign up for this shit. Now I got to,
it felt like he was quiet quitting. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, I'm not going to do my job and I'm going to wait until you fire me. Right.
And therefore, and make this ridiculous
He
cake.
literally, it's... when they were like, okay, the person we want to call up with the worst cake from the boomers, I noticed he already had his hand on the cake stand. He's like, well, I know I'm going up there. So, I'm like...
A lot of that.
I think he wanted to be ejected from the show.
I've tried to go to Geek's Instagram.
Okay.
So that I could, maybe he posted something.
Sure. Yeah.
But when you go to cooking_with_geeks, there's no profile and it just says hacked.
No. Oh, no.
Geeks is out of here. Geeks is done.
No. Hey, if you're the person who hacked Geeks' account,
right in. No.
Give it back.
We want to know what it looked like. Wow.
Yeah, like.
Okay.
See, that's the thing. He has this whole branding. Sorry, we're watching his video. It's like he has this like cooking with geeks. Like it's
okay.
It's not that he's not a chef. I think maybe it's closer to what you were saying. Where it's just like this isn't the kind of chef he wanted to be.
Sure. Yeah, he's like, I'm good at what I do, and this isn't what I do.
Yeah. Or it could be. Here's my guess, because even with that cooking with geeks, it seemed very like ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's one of those like, I'm a comedian and I'm gonna join.
Oh, right.
You think he's a Mert? Yeah.
Well,
Mert's profile says comedian. You know what I mean?
But Mert at least is trying. Where cooking with geeks, it looks like he's.
It's performance art. It's like right on the line where it's like, is he being serious?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that's geeks. He used the hand mixer. That was another one where I was like, you have access to a stand mixer. Why are you using a hand mixer?
He's throwing it. And that's the best way to fold in the raw flour into your frosting.
Okay, also at the bottom for the millennials is Anna. This one I felt bad about because she's
hard on herself.
So miserable.
I know.
Crying the whole time.
Okay.
Really rough.
This answers my question that I was wondering, which is because they leave their aprons on the table.
Oh, so
do they get to keep it? He obviously does.
He kept it. Yeah.
So obviously, Geek's big presence is on Facebook. As the boomer.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
He's crushing Facebook.
Yeah, he's out of here. Yeah, it seems like he's trying to be a goof. It doesn't feel like real.
It's more personality than cooking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in a cooking show, he focuses on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Anna made a brown butter coffee cake, salted caramel frosting. Bummer because that sounds like such a good flavor profile to me. Again, I'm like,
Amazing.
that is a cake that I would want to eat.
But then I realized also it just looked so much worse because it was like kind of brown and sliding.
Yeah.
So, like if it had been a different bright rainbow or whatever we're talking about, like.
But then they also said it was like dense on the inside. I'm like, wow, how is it?
It wasn't
lopsided and not soft. A
lot of frosting.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of frosting, and another insider fact. She said she feels like it was too hot when it was frosted.
Yeah,
and that
was a little bit in the edit where I can't remember. There was like a certain amount of time left on the clock. And she hadn't frosted it yet. You know what I mean? It was, and then you put on the frosting and it melts, and she was behind the whole time.
Yeah.
And she said she hates baking, and that's got to weigh on you more when you're going to challenges. You're like, this isn't my strong suit. I know I'm already not happy.
Yeah.
And then to end up with a product you're not happy about, and then they didn't even call her up. They were like, the person from Millennials, they know who they are, and she just like hung her head and walked up there and started crying. I'm like, this is hard to watch.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
Well, it is, but would it have been better or worse where if it was someone like me, I'm like looking around, like, who the fuck?
Who is it?
Who had that fucked up?
I wonder.
Fucked up. Get up there.
Who had that fucked up cake? My shit is all sliding off the thing. Who had that fucked up cake?
Right.
Can't be me.
That's the thing is there were so many sliding cakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think everyone in the boomers, like, made a bad cake.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, there were some sliders. I think it reminded me a lot of Nailed It, that Netflix buyer show,
very
right?
Nailed It.
It's like lots of sliding happening.
Yeah.
It's unavoidable.
Third person on the bottom for Gen X was Arthur with his strawberry cake, little strawberries and cream. At first, I was like, this doesn't look that bad.
Yeah.
And even they said, they're like, it looks fine on the outside,
Yeah.
but we know what's on the inside. And then they cut it open. I was like, oh, yeah, they were right. That looks pretty bad on the inside.
That's exactly what Christina Tosi be talking about.
Yeah.
Trying to hide those sins.
Can't fool her.
Biggest strawberry slices I've seen in my life.
Yeah. But he walked up and he was like, I don't know, I'm kind of proud of it. And I was like, I would be too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
like I would still eat that cake.
Yeah, because the only mistake is the big ass slices.
Chunky strawberries.
Yeah.
Right. And he was, I would say top of the bottom and maybe just a stronger Gen X coming through.
Yeah.
Nobody really fucked up hard in that category.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So at the end of this episode, they say Geegs is going home and everyone's like, oh. And then they said, and also Anna's going home.
Shocker.
Such a shocker.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought for sure, like, they were going to do something like, you've cooked so well up to this point. Like,
yes.
you kind of earned yourself a little bit of grace here. But it was when Gordon said, oh, we can't set the precedent of these two cakes being allowed on this show or something. I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
That was crazy to me because I'm like, to me, they're two bad cakes, but they're bad on such drastically different levels. I'm like, you're telling me Honest Cake was the same as the Geeg cake? Geeg cake? Same level? I mean, absolutely
not. The one
not.
that you literally cannot eat because it's a health risk versus
exactly.
the
one that's like a little slidey. Yeah. Come on.
Sweet and slidey. Yeah, I mean the geek cake. I mean, I also am like, well, was the geek cake better than they let on? Like, obviously it looked silly.
Okay, I remember Joe's comment was it tastes like blueberry pancakes. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Right, then I
like blueberry pancakes.
Yeah, I'm like, that you could have that for breakfast.
Sure, Joe.
I don't know. So I was like, maybe it's something where it like hers was really that bad and his was like bad.
Like offensively bad.
Yeah.
And hers is just like not culinary good bad.
Right. I don't know.
Okay, so they go home. That brings us to the top 15 now in the competition. Any other stray thoughts? The only other thing I wrote down was Rebecca made a chocolate mayonnaise cake, which I'd never heard of.
Me either.
And I'm like, well, I kind of want to try it.
Something Emily pointed out was that she was like, this week you made a mayo cake back when there wasn't enough eggs.
Right.
But mayonnaise is an egg-based like product. Like you can't make mayo without eggs.
Well, yeah, but everyone had mayo. I think that's the point. Is that like if it's World War I and you don't have enough eggs, but you do have mayo,
you do both.
Yeah,
you like
supplement your eggs.
Yeah, but
okay.
It can't be. What else? I mean, isn't mayo also like a lot of other stuff?
Yeah, it's not just eggs in a jar.
So you're adding a lot of interesting flavors in there.
Yeah. Look, there is a rich history of like culinary innovations that come from subbing out one ingredient for another.
Yeah.
I'm Filipino. We made banana ketchup.
Ooh, baby.
They were just like, we're tired of importing tomatoes. Can we make ketchup out of anything else? And the answer was yes.
Yeah.
Banana ketchup rocks.
Yeah. But see, the way that you said something that sounds delicious the moment you described it versus
mayo
cake. The
Slightly
difference
different.
there?
Yeah.
The difference between Filipino and World War II whites.
This is what happened.
Touche. You're right. Okay, let's do our points breakdown for the Cakes episode. As a reminder, you can find our scoring rules on our Instagram at TV Chef Fantasy League. The closer looks were Becca, Kamei, Kimberly, and Christopher. That's a half point each. And Becca won with 1 point. And we're going to tack on that Kimberly gets a quarter of a point. So I'll do that later. Okay, let's dive into the second episode, which was the Mystery Box Challenge, Memory Lane. All the mystery boxes had like generational snacks in it. The first thing that happened in this episode, I have to know what you guys think of this, was that Christopher said he had cancer?
Yeah.
And I was like, did I miss that in an earlier episode?
Not at all.
No, this was the first time we heard about it, right?
Yeah. Which makes everything about this episode even more tragic.
It's truly insane.
Like you're just going to introduce that right now?
This is the time to introduce that?
You didn't want to maybe sprinkle it in?
Could have been in his first episode.
Right.
His audition would have been a great spot for it.
Yeah, because so he talked about his father in the first episode, right? Or his audition episode.
Yeah.
So I was like, is it because, like, what did
Too many unusual things?
Or did he, well, yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? Hat on a hat.
You got to pick one lane, Christopher.
Yeah.
But no, also I was wondering, it's like, did he mention in that? And maybe we'll have to go back and revisit. Was it like he found his father because he was doing some like doctor stuff where he had to find like medical history,
didn't know
like
that.
Biological,
right,
you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe
they're like,
he
we're
did
doing a
bring it
blood
up.
test, and then they're like, hey, we have a match for this.
Right. Hey, we also just ran your blood through 23andMe. Hope that's cool. But yeah, so I wondered if that was, but yeah, maybe this was the first time they're like, hey, well, you need a thing because you're getting knocked out this episode.
Truly crazy. The timing of it was crazy to me. It feels like such a weird bomb to drop at the top of any episode. Even if he wasn't eliminated, it would be weird to start an episode just like, this guy has cancer. Anyway, let's get cooking.
Yeah. Let's open
these boxes. Let's see what's in these mystery boxes.
Okay, so they open the mystery boxes. The boomers get a bunch of, I wrote like some of the items. So they get boomery things. Powdered milk, Wonder Bread, cream of wheat, Spam. Gen X gets like Kraft mac and cheese balls, popcorn, Gatorade, wine coolers, Cheese Whiz. The millennials get like fruit roll-ups and bologna and Cheetos and Doritos. Gen Z gets oat milk and Takis and Impossible Meat and jackfruit. I also wrote, I love the Greeking on these items.
Oh, yeah. Calling the Arizona Phoenix was like...
Oh, what was Phoenix? I missed that one.
That
Arizona iced tea?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, man, art is going off. I was like, hey,
so for those of you
off.
not in the industry, Greeking is when you have a product that is like branded on the air, but you can't show that logo. So the art department will put like a fake logo over it. And so that was why like their Spam was called Smeat, which is another one where I was like, what an unpleasant word, but very funny. I love whoever came up with Smeat.
Got that Smeat.
It's like Mert.
Oh, man. Yeah. This was one where I really was like, yeah, we are the coolest generation because out of all the snacks,
we got the best snacks.
Yeah. But also I feel like Gen Z kind of got fucked a bit because a lot of their like snacks were just things that were invented to help dietary
jackfruit has existed for a long time.
I know. I'm like, to some people, jackfruit would be totally like multi-generational, but okay.
But they're like oat milk. It was like, that's because people have gotten lactose intolerant.
Yeah, exactly.
Impossible meat. It was like these aren't things that people were like, I'm eating this because I want to.
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I do think. Yeah, I wonder if it's like the allergies. I mean, everybody has allergies, but it's like it's gotten more dialed in of like being mindful,
more accommodating as a society.
Yeah, mindful of it. Right. Yeah. So it's like
before you just had to shit your pants.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we create
like,
some options.
We call it a whiny Gen Z thing. These kids don't want to shit their pants.
It's like, why don't we go?
Gotta have their oat milk.
Upstream a little bit of that,
So Becca, is the winner of the previous episode, gets to choose which team cooks with which mystery box. She decides that Gen Z is cooking with the millennial box because she's confident they can handle it. The millennials are cooking with the boomers box, and Kamei says, "Oh, so we're a threat." All right. I was like, "Okay, Kamei."
Yeah, I know.
Love that.
Yeah.
She decides that Gen X is cooking with the Gen X box. Her reasoning is that there's so much processed shit in it, it'll be hard to come up with a fresh restaurant quality dish.
Yes.
And the boomers get the Gen Z box. And Horacio is really excited because, like we said, he ate jackfruit the old-fashioned way.
He had it in his backyard.
Yeah.
He had it.
And the challenge is to use at least 4 of those ingredients in addition to a very limited pantry. It seemed genuine. Like, everyone ran and was like, there's no tomatoes. There's no, like, breadcrumbs. Like, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. The closer looks for this episode. A bunch of first-timers. Really proud of all of them. I mentioned this up top, but for the boomers, Horacio, his veggie burger croquettes, fireball jackfruit sauce, eggplant with tomato and feta saganaki sauce. Nobody liked the sauce, so Joe made him drink it, and I was like, this is hazing. I don't like this.
But he so confidently did it.
Yeah, he was like, sure, and then I made it. It's great.
He's like, oh, nope, you're right.
But it was still a good dish. They loved it. Horacio did say, I've never cooked with plant-based meat before. Mm-hmm. That is plus a half a point for Horacio. Great job picking him.
Yeah. Look, he's a sleeper.
He's a sleeper. Getting points on the basis of having never cooked with stuff. Like that time he didn't know what squash was.
He was eating jackfruit. Yes. He didn't have time for squash.
Yeah.
Also at the top for Gen Z was Haley with her lemon salmon with spicy zucchini and kale salad, brioche croutons, and an avocado puree. She got a lot of screen time this episode.
Yeah.
What are your feelings on her? I have a strong opinion, but it's extremely personal.
Okay, well, her main take, like blurb, was everything's so fake in this Gen Z ingredient thing, and I am not a fake person, and like I cook with real things, and it was like interesting, I guess. I mean, I was really pushing back, I guess, against like I'm not like other Gen Z.
I know that.
I'm not like other Gen Zers.
Yeah, come on.
It was a real whiplash for me because like last episode when she's flipping off Anna and you kind of see her skull tattoos, I was like, oh, I know what you are, I know who you are, and you're someone I'm into. In this one, I was like, nope, that's the Alabama. You're the Alabama version of the thing.
To me, those two are the same thing.
Alabama alt girl.
But
that it seems so dumb and unnecessary because of everything we said about that stuff. Where it's like it's not fake. It's just people have lactose intolerance and they don't eat meat. Like what? Like that isn't a stance you need to take against oat milk.
It's a stance that a lot of people have. Like. I'm not saying that it's okay to say those things, but I'm like, I get where she's coming from because there are a lot of people who have that sort of like folksy mentality of just like, I love a raw steak. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's like, go ahead, cook for me. And then you have to sit in the car with me with doors closed for an hour. And then we'll see. I'll get you on the side of oat milk.
Yeah. Okay, so what I was going to say on a personal level is that I couldn't put my finger when we were drafting on why I had an aversion toward her. Mm-hmm. And I'm realizing now throughout this episode, I was like, oh, she reminds me of one of my exes. Who just had that same sort of like, I don't know what to call it, like a rootin' tootin' sort of just like, you know what I mean? Like I want she wrote down, I want my food mooing and moving. And I was like, that is such a weird thing to say. It's like she had that locked and loaded and ready to go. You know? And like flipping Anna on off. I was like, it's a bit much.
She's definitely playing up the like, back to your roots, like let's,
she strikes me as like a homesteader, great. Like a borderline, like sovereign citizen.
Oh my gosh.
maybe a little bit of that. So I mean, it's definitely like kind of in the way that Geeks was serving his role of like, I'm not your typical boomer. I think they needed one. They're like, we're going to have some Gen Zs that are all pretty, there's going to be some Mertz in there. There's going to be some, and then we need to have a Hallie who is going to be like, it's actually, we're going this direction.
Turbo nonconformist.
Yeah. So,
it made me think of the fact that like sometimes they talk about in casting, like you won't get a job just because they're like, you remind the CEO of Coca-Cola of like his ex-wife, and that's why they're not going to cast you in that Coca-Cola commercial. And watching this, I was like, oh, I get it. I didn't draft Haley because she reminded me of my ex.
Yeah, right.
And I was like,
that's
okay,
so nothing to do. Sorry,
it has nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Do either of you regret not drafting her?
No, not really.
Oh yeah, I kind of honestly forgot. She's just not. She's kind of she's a free agent.
Her and Geeks were the two who we did not draft.
Yeah. I think. I mean, so far I don't think there's been too much going on point wise.
Yeah, I agree. We're also early in the season. A lot of people have been in the middle and just like haven't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, popped off.
Like Jeet was like my first pick, and she hasn't done good or bad in any episode.
Right. But I mean, again, high expectations. We had higher expectations for Jeet, I think.
Right, exactly.
So who knows?
Okay, also at the top for Gen X was Daniela with her chicken-flavored ramen, turkey and hot dog meatballs, sautéed broccoli, and a poached egg. There wasn't a lot to say here. The big plot point here was just like, everyone's like, you're putting hot dogs on a meatball? That's weird. And then they were good. And I'm like, okay. There's other things to talk about. We can just move on.
I'm down.
And then for the millennials was Michael with his bran flakes breaded pork chop, spam and spinach pasta, and a Gatorade Beurre Blanc. And they really... Here's the thing with like the Greeking is they were like, like sports drink Beurre Blanc. And it didn't occur to me that they downplayed how weird that was. And it wasn't until I was like writing this that I was like, wait a minute. He made fucking sauce out of Gatorade?
Yeah.
And it was good?
Yeah.
What a weird... I don't know.
I mean...
because you're getting like a good amount of acidity in there. And I think that, if you just put some... Yeah, I think with the pork...
Yeah.
And it probably was like a sweeter crust too.
Sure.
Yeah, I can see how
I can see the validity in it, but I'm just like it almost feels like this is like 10,000 different YouTube shows. You know what I mean? We're just like, we took these high people, we put them in a 7-Eleven, we said, cook us a gourmet meal. And it's like, that's kind of what this challenge is.
Super meal time.
Is that what, is that the...
It was the one, you remember they would make those big ass fucking foods where it was like, we're going to make the biggest...
Oh, yeah. I forgot about those guys. Are they still around? Are they still doing it?
Harvey does stuff, but not food stuff. Like he's just like a guy. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? Good for them. I didn't write the full quote, but Joe had a quote where he's like, if I had this dish in my restaurant, I'd call it. And then he said this super long Italian name. And then he said, you know why? Because I can charge more for it. And I was like, you know what? Joe, that's why we have you on the show. I love that.
Yeah.
I love him being upfront about the fact that he's just like, yeah, this is a weird dish, but it tastes good. And if I name it something fancy, I can tack $10 more off the price tag.
Yeah, if he gets off-brand Gatorade, he can really make a
if he gets sports drink. Michael did make his own pasta. I wrote a note that he cranked it so fast. That's such a small, stupid note. But it's just, there was like a 2-second shot of him like whipping the pasta roller. And I was like, Jesus, that's dangerous.
Whoa.
Yeah. Anyway, he made the dish for his mom and she died. So that is a whole point because saying this dish is for my XYZ is a half point. And if that person is dead, that is a half point.
I mean, I got to say, not to make light of this or whatever, but that's
Thank God his mom is dead?
Nope. No. But yeah. Part of the reason why I did draft him was that I knew that was on the list there. And this was part of his audition. It was very sweet, and he seems like a sweet, talented cook. So,
wow.
It paid off.
You heard it here
Just
first,
saying.
folks. Sierra is glad that Michael's mom is dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard it.
Never, no.
Cannot
Sweet
believe
lady, I mean, she's, one of the faves.
Now you have to come up with a genuine compliment to make up for it.
Woman. She sounded amazing.
He won. Michael wins the challenge. And that brings us to the dishes at the bottom. For the boomers, we have Christopher with his pan-seared chicken thigh, feta and eggplant salad, jackfruit relish, matcha garnish. Thigh raw as hell. Just pink, shiny.
Translucent.
Yeah. Rare.
Turbo rare. Okay, we don't need to pile on there because he's got the worst possible outcome here. For Gen Z, Mert is on the bottom with his Wagyu filet, goat cheese and truffle oil mash, avocado and sun-dried tomato salad. Okay, I can see it on your face. Hit us with
One
it.
of the main tenets about Wagyu that everyone always talks about is how you really don't have to cook it that much. Now, me and Em were able to surmise that this is American Wagyu because of the cut and for them to use that thick of a cut.
Yeah.
But even then, and his putting butter and all that stuff. I'm like,
It's got a bunch of fat in it.
Yeah, I was like, do you not know what Wagyu is? It seems like you don't understand the meat. And he does admittedly he was like, I can't afford the Wagyu.
Which is half a point.
Yeah.
He says, I haven't cooked this before. So that's half a point.
But, I got to say, if you go to crowdcow.com, they have affordable Wagyu slices so that you don't end up like Mert's position. If you do buy it, make sure you send them this podcast clip so they can give us money, maybe.
I was about to say I didn't know we were doing ads now.
Look,
how much are you getting paid for that?
None yet. Manifesting.
Crowdcow.com.
We will accept payment in Wagyu.
Yes. Honestly, I would.
Yeah.
It's
so good.
I wrote down that Becca tried to coach him into not overcooking a steak. She's up on the balcony. She's like, "Don't overcook that." And he's like, "Yeah, woman, I got it."
Oh my gosh.
It's like there are some times when I'm like, oh, Mert is playing into this personality. And then there are times where behavior-wise, I'm like, no, he is that guy.
Yeah.
And when he's like, sure, shut up there. I got it. What do I do? I'm like, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, not a good look. And also, you needed that.
Yeah.
Mert is just stumbling through this whole competition, just idly missing, getting chopped over and over, and I know they can't wait till say your name. At this point, I know they cannot
Counting
wait.
his days.
I know they were ready to say Mert, and the moment they cut that chicken, they're like, "Damn, we got it." We got to get rid of the raw chicken.
Yeah, I mean the Mert roller coaster. He just goes between the two. It's the most egotistical, confident to panic. Oh no, what? Somebody help me! It's truly ridiculous.
And he has he gotten a top spot?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, yeah. He's been immune.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the highest he's
When you
been.
put it like that, I'm like, that is such a funny character. I want to write that character who is so blindly confident and so incompetent at the same time.
And he resets every episode. So it's like, he's like, I got this, look at me. And then it's like, oh no, I burned it. I can't. And then it's on the bottom. Yeah, I know I messed up. And then the next episode he's up again.
Yeah. He's definitely every day's a new day. Got to start it
Right,
over.
right.
Live, die, repeat.
You know that okay. You know that sketch from I Think You Should Leave where he's like the cool guy at the craps table and then he immediately goes into like, no!
Yes.
That's Mert.
Oh, no.
Yes. 100%.
Okay, I wrote down that he tried to like sneakily glean the perfect steak temperature from Adam, who was cooking the same cut of meat. He's like, so what temperature are you going for on yours? And I was like, yeah, like 125 to 130. He's like, cool, yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, shut the fuck up, Mert.
Oh my goodness.
The man makes good TV.
And then I also wrote that he blamed Becca right away. They call him up to them. They're like, you had one of the worst dishes. And he's like, wow, Becca really screwed me on this one. And I was like, she literally tried to help you.
Yeah.
She tried her best.
And you ignored her.
No accountability whatsoever.
Oh.
Anyway, he gets a half point for having never cooked Wagyu before. And also on the bottom for Gen X is Arthur with his steak and eggs, ranch dusted smashed potatoes, and a Pringles garnish. On the bottom again, 2 episodes in a row. And I was like, man, this is tough. His idea was cool. Poaching an egg in ramen broth. I was like, that sounds cool. He undercooked it, but that's a good idea. I'm not against it.
He's always been innovative, it seems, from the start. But yeah, maybe execution could use
This
more.
was the same thing with a strawberry cake where I'm like, look, I would still eat it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a teeny tiny little plate. I'd eat it in 2 bites, but, you know.
Yeah.
Steak and eggs.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. So the eliminated person on this episode was Christopher. On the same day we learn he has cancer.
Yeah.
He's crying. Joe says, you bring new meaning to live like you're dying. And I was like, Joe!
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
are you kidding
It
me?
was so funny because he said it like he was so sure he was saying something inspiring. I was like, no, dude, that is not.
That's not it.
And
That's
he's like,
not it.
no. Also, Joe said earlier, like the whole, like, what kind of sick world do you live in?
That's right. I forgot about that.
What is happening?
In response to hot dog meatballs.
Yeah, mashing up the hot dogs.
Yeah.
Mash up these hot dogs. What kind
And
of sick world
she
you
was
live
on
in?
top.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying that he should have won because he has cancer. I'm saying editors put that in an earlier episode so I don't have all this emotion in one episode to learn he has cancer, be rooting for him, and then send him home and watch him cry on the way out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and he's got that little face.
He's got that sad puppy dog face.
Yeah, he always looks sad, and then you see him crying. And now I kind of like, I think I do know why he's sad. Like, man.
Yeah, he's probably in a bunch of pain.
Yeah, he's got a lot on the line, too. Jesus.
Yeah, my goodness. He's got to handle so much.
So at the end of this episode, as Kamei points out, Gen Z is still fully intact. They still have all 5 of their members. So they are the team to beat as of right now.
Yeah, and speaking of which, millennials are barely hanging in there. I was looking at
truly
when
decimated.
I was looking at it, I was like, damn, y'all got no homies.
Yeah.
Y'all got no homies.
What's wrong?
Yeah, real tough time for the millennials. But you know what? I have faith in Kamei.
Me
I
too.
really, really do.
We're the Kamei Nation over here.
Yeah,
The Kamation, if you will.
Kamation.
There we go. You heard it here first.
Kamation.
Okay, points breakdown for the Mystery Box episode. The closer looks were Horacio, Haley, Daniela, and Michael. That's a half point each. The winner was Michael. He gets 1 point. He also gets 1 point for having a dish inspired by his mom, who has passed away. Horacio gets a half point because he's never cooked with plant-based meat before, and Mert gets half point because he's never cooked with Wagyu before. Did I miss any other points?
No.
No? Okay, cool. Then, our final scores at the end of both of these episodes. And by the way, someone they commented and they asked me to make a video detailing the spreadsheet I use to score all of this. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then I went to Europe and I got engaged. So I'm sorry, I'll get to it.
How dare you?
I know. I'm working on it. It'll probably be around by the time we start Great British Bake Off. So this week, Iffy, you gain 2.5 points.
All right.
That's pretty good gainage.
All right. Yep. Let me hear how much everyone else gained.
Well, you'll be happy to know I only gained a half a point.
All right.
I really bombed this week.
I like that.
Sierra, clench your butt. Here we go. Sierra gains 4.5 points.
Jesus.
And
pretty good.
you got both winners this week. You had Michael and Becca.
I did. I lost Anna, who was a strong candidate.
contender.
Got me a lot of points already, but
And
I
you
would
lost
say,
Christopher, too.
Oh, yeah, and I lost
You
Christopher.
seem less sad about
That's
that.
right.
Seems like
Sorry,
this man got
Christopher.
cancer
No,
and you don't even give a damn. You don't even give a damn.
I don't.
You
Yeah,
kicking-
no, I know.
Kicking him on the way out.
I know. Michael's mom, Christopher. Here we go. But yeah, it is really sorry to bring that up. But yeah, no, I think I lost 2. this week. So it was pretty rough. But yeah, both winners. Becca's strong. We'll see, honestly, though, because it's dwindling, my team, and I think Becca's my strongest, I would say. Michael's pulling through, though.
I still have Mert, so, just remember that. You could have a Mert on your team who's just tumbling like a tumbleweed towards deeper into the season, just not doing anything, sometimes in the gutter, then back out. Truly, it is... I just hope someone who gets kicked off at the bottom of Mert's like, why are you still here? It should have been you.
That would be amazing. A why are you still here moment on any reality show is so funny to me. I would love it if that happened. All right, so currently our leaderboard as it stands, Iffy, still in last place, but not by much. You're at 3.5 points.
Okay.
Not bad for episode 4. Mm-hmm. I'm at 4.5 points. Okay. So you could overtake me easily.
Yeah.
Easily. Sierra, you're at 13 points. I don't know how you do this. The same thing happened last season.
Man. Oh, too funny. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Again, nobody leave just yet.
Looking forward to next week. Grant, the winner from last season, is on the episode, which means someone is going to get the point. More than one person might, for saying, "Oh, I'm such a big fan of that guy."
Oh yeah.
Because that is one of our scoring rules.
Yeah, let's hope he's got fans.
All right. Folks, if you like the show, head to MaximumFun.org/join. That is where you can support us directly. You can also rate and review our podcast on whatever app you're using to listen to us right now. That really helps us out. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, drop us a line on Instagram at TV Chef Fantasy League or send us an email at chef@MaximumFun.org. If you're doing your own MasterChef Fantasy League, please tag us. We love seeing your teams. For full unedited episodes, you can check us out on YouTube. Thanks again to my co-host Sierra Kato and Iffy Wadiwe. We will be back next week, probably with 2 more episodes.
All right.
TV Chef Fantasy League is a Maximum Fun production. Our producer is Valerie Moffat. Our theme song is by Dylan Van Auken. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube at TV Chef Fantasy League.